Hey y'all, welcome to my kitchen. This is Gardener's Journey Homestead. I am Barbara, and thank you for meeting me in my kitchen. Today, y'all, the kitchen is a tornado. It's a tornado, it's a hurricane, it's a typhoon, it's a monsoon. Like, it is stuff everywhere. But sometimes it gotta be like that just to get something done. Y'all, we are in the midst of summer harvest, and y'all, when it's like this, I can hardly keep up. Every counter is covered. We are trying to process, sell, put up, freeze, do whatever, eat the produce as it's coming in, and it's near impossible to eat it all up, and just to keep your counters clean. Like, I love a clean house. It gives me great peace. But in the summertime, I have to kind of lay that aside just for a few months, knowing that every counter is not going to be cleaned in terms of nothing on it. It's going to be clean, but there's stuff everywhere. Produce, like I'm looking over there, there's so much produce, but I'm not complaining. So I wanted to tell you that. So if you see some little shots, as I'm panning, scanning, all that, and say, man, she got stuff everywhere. I do. But I thought I'd bring you along with me today, because today I'm in the kitchen and I'm doing lots of different things. So one of the things that I already have going on is that I'm about to can up some grape jelly. I thought I'd bring you along with me. I'm trying to do at least a kitchen video a week. Now, I'm preserving as much as I possibly can. I would say I'm probably preserving something at least 2 to 3 times a week, whether that's freezing, canning, freeze drying or something like that. I'm doing that constantly these days, but I at least want to try to bring you along for a piece of it as I'm going through the week. So I have the stuff ready on the stove to make grape jelly, and then I got sourdough going in terms of I fed my starter to get the starter active because I'm going to be making some bread. What else I got? I got stuff in the freeze dryer that is done that we need to get out. That's just a few of the things. And then I want to soak some green beans because we're gonna plant some more green beans. So there are lots of things on the list, and I thought I'd invite you to come hang out with me today as we do all the things and chit chat. So if you're brand new here, we are in Tennessee in Zone 7B, and so we have a really, really long growing season, which means we have harvest. We probably did the first harvest around the first week of June, and it'll be like that every week, at least until probably the end of September. We have a high tunnel, so we're able to extend our season in terms of that. So we'll have bell peppers and tomatoes well into the end of September for sure. So this is what I call the summer press. We just have to press through and get it done. But one of the things that's really important as your harvest is coming in is making sure that as much as possible you're staying on top of it to preserve something, eat it, give it away. Just have a plan for it. Because if you don't have a plan, I guarantee you're gonna have stuff everywhere, or stuff is going to, more than likely, it's going to spoil or go to waste, so you're not gonna be able to actually reap the benefits. So let me see, I think my water is boiling. Okay, yikes. Water is boiling. Let me see, not water, the grape juice mixture. So you can kind of see that there. I'm not gonna even try to lift it up, but we need to add in our sugar and our pectin. All of this is pre-measured, so to speak. So I'm gonna let this come up to a boil for about 2 minutes. Once it comes up to a boil, and then we're gonna can up our jelly. I'm gonna tell you why I'm making this jelly, where the grapes came from, and all of that good stuff. Okay, y'all, the jelly is ready. So we're making grape jelly. Last week I did a video and we were in the kitchen and we made strawberry jam. So if you didn't see that video, I'll pop it up here. But the difference between jam and jelly, with strawberry jam or any type of jam, you're gonna have little bits of fruit in the mixture. When it comes to jelly, you use juice. So for jam, you use fruit that you've mashed up. So you saw that on the strawberries, we used a potato masher. to mash them up. And so we had little bits of strawberry fruit in the strawberry jam. But when it comes to jelly, you're starting with a juice. So I started with grape juice. I made this grape juice about 3 or 4 days ago, and I put it in the refrigerator. I didn't can it because I was gonna make jelly the next day and I didn't. So I just put it in the refrigerator because I knew it wouldn't be long before I made the jelly. So we started with juice. Now I wanna show you something because in case you've never done this before. Let me see if I can bring you closer. And I have this plate to show you as a demonstration. So you can see that it's really liquidy. And so you're probably thinking, how is that going to what we call set or turn into jelly? So one of the things that you can do is you can put some jelly on a plate, which is what I did. I stuck it in the freezer for like 2 to 3 minutes. You can see that the jelly is set. This was the same thing. All I did was put it on a plate like that. You can see how it's running around. And I put it, you can see how that's running around there. Yep, okay. I put it in the freezer for like 2 minutes and it's set. You can, hopefully you can see this. You can see that it's already starting to set. But so it's only been a minute. You can see it's no longer running. So if I was to press that there, you can see it's no longer running. So I know that it's gonna set. So even though it may look like liquid when I put it in the jars, I know that it's gonna set, and I know that it has enough pectin in it to set, even though it may go in looking like a liquid. So I'm gonna fill the jars to 1/4 inch, and then we're gonna water bath or process this for 10 minutes. Jelly is very, very easy. I encourage you that if you have not ventured into canning, I would definitely start with water bath canning. And the first 2 things that I canned were applesauce and jelly or jam. Those are very easy to do, especially if you have fruit trees. Get your own fruit, right, and process you some jelly. It's super, super, super easy. I have a video where I actually canned where I did grape juice. So I made the grape juice, and then I also have a separate video where I made grape jelly, probably like 2 years ago. I'll try to pop them up here as well. So that's why I'm not going into a lot of great detail on this. But let me go ahead and get this jarred up. I'm gonna come back and talk to you about these grapes, where I got them from, and then we're gonna move on to the next project. Okay, so the jelly is in the canner. I'm waiting for it to come back up to boil, and then once it starts boiling, I'll set the timer for 10 minutes. And then once the 10 minutes is up, I'll let it sit in the canner and cool down for 5 minutes, and then I'll take it out, and then we'll do the next batch. So I already got my jars out for the next batch. We have, so that was 10. I'm sure I have enough for 10 more if I'm not mistaken. If not, real close. So that was 5 quarts of grape juice that we used. And so the lids and bands that I'm using are with ForJars. On my video last week, we did an unboxing of ForJars. It is a great company, and they gave me a discount code for you guys. So you can get, I think, 10% off. Go to the link in my description and go get you some canning jars and lids and whatever else you need. I also showed you the vacuum sealer kit, and then also the can opener, the jar opener that they gave me. So all of that is from ForJars, and that's what I'm using. I'm telling y'all, it's like my new best thing. I still have a lot of ball lids because I have bought things in bulk, and I will use those, but I will tell you that I like ForJars better. I don't have as many failures with ForJars as I do ball, and I don't have a ton with ball. I don't want to say that I have a ton, but I have had, if I've canned 100 jars, I probably have had maybe 4 or 5 lid failures with ball. So it's not a ton, but with ForJars, they're batting 1,000. They are batting 1,000. And with ForJars, I probably have done at least, if I had to guess, yeah, I probably shouldn't use 100 for the first example because I've canned way more than 100 jars, because like when I do black beans, I do like 20 jars at a time. That was all 4 jars. Last week I did 20 jars. So I've done probably at least 100 ForJars lids, and they are 0 for 100. for whatever number I've canned. And with Ball, I have had some failures. So I like the ForJars brand. So go to the link in my bio, it's forjars.co, I think. And you can get 10% off by buying the lids, bands, and whatever other accessories you need. So let's see if my water is up to a boil. Okay, it is at a slight boil. So we're gonna set the timer for 10 minutes and let them process. So that's another thing. The jelly is easy. It does not take long. So let's talk about how I'm making grape jelly. So I told you I did a video. I want to say that video might have been a year and a half ago. We just got to our last jar of grape jelly. And so I remember I told you last week when I made the strawberry jam, I told you that we were out of jelly in the house. We had 1 jar of grape jelly left, and that was it. So we did like 20 jars of strawberry jelly. Last week, we'll probably have another 20 jars of grape jelly from this time, and that is the last of my grapes. But y'all, these grapes I got, it might have been 2 years ago. It might have been 3, but I think it was 2 years ago. I think it was in October 2022 or October 2021. I have to go back to my videos and look. But anyway, here's the point. These are Concord grapes from Michigan. It is from the same vineyard that Welch's uses. Now, how was I able to get them? I have a friend the one who taught me how to can. She goes up to Michigan, I think every year, and she gets grapes. They are or were $1 a pound. Let that sink in. $1 a pound. So I think at the last time that she went, which was I think 2 years ago, because I didn't get any last year, so I think it was October 2022. I bought 15 pounds, I think, which was $15, if I'm not mistaken. And so and that made 4 to 5 gallon size freezer bags. I destemmed them and did all the things. And so I put them in my freezer. I made jelly from the first round. I got 20 jars of jelly. I just had 2 more bags in my freezer. That's what this is. And so one, I'm making jelly because I'm down to my last jar, and that was like a year and a half ago. And then second, I'm trying to clear out my freezer because the summer produce is coming in. And again, you want to use the stuff, as you have it. Now, and again, they had been in my freezer for probably over a year, but they're still good. They were packaged up real nice. And y'all, this jelly tastes amazing. I mean, it is Concord grapes from the same vineyard as Welch's. But think about this. I paid $1 a pound. Either I got 15 pounds or 30 pounds. I think I got 15. But for the sake of, let me just err on the side of caution. Let's just say I got 30 pounds. That was $30. If $30, from that $30, because I bought the grapes in season, bought them at the vineyard, quality grapes, the same grapes that Welch uses, I paid $30. It was either 15 or 30, but we're gonna use 30 just for the sake of caution. I'm gonna get 40 half-pint jars of jelly. Now you do the math on that. $30 for, and again, that's gonna last me at least 3 to 4 years, because the jelly I made, we just ran out of, because we probably go through a jar of jelly maybe a month. I mean, it's a half pint. We don't eat biscuits and stuff like that every day. Probably one good time a week, or if we have some company over or something like that. So we're not going through it like, a jar a week, but at a jar a month, it's gonna last me like 2 years. So that investment in 2022 could carry me on literally until 2026. That is why it's so important to buy seasonally and to buy it in bulk and then preserve, right? So if I didn't know how to can, those grapes would just be sitting in my freezer. Now, could I freeze dry them and have frozen grapes? Yeah, you could. I don't know what else you do with grapes besides make grape jelly. If y'all do something else with them, let me know. But my point is, it is important to preserve, to have the skills to preserve your harvest in some kind of way, and it's important to buy in bulk seasoning. So like at the time of this video, this is July. So the things that are in season in my area in zone 7 are peaches. This is a great time to go and buy peaches in bulk. I've already gotten my first installment of peaches, right? I bought, how much was that? Anyway, some bushel I don't remember the size, but it was $25 worth of peaches, and it gave me 2-gallon size bag of peaches. So they're already in my freezer. I've already cut, sliced them, flash frozen them. They're in my freezer. But I plan to get 2 more installments of that before they go out of season, right? So I'll go probably get another installment this week and maybe another installment next week, so that I can do freeze-dried peaches. I can have peach jelly. Now, I was talking to my husband. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have strawberry jelly, grape jelly, and peach jelly. I only might make a few jars of peach jelly because I don't want to have 60 jars of jelly. Maybe I'll do peach jelly next year or whatever. I don't want to have 60 jars of jelly, I don't think, on my pantry shelf. But anyway, that's beside the point. But the peaches, I can freeze dry them and eat them as a snack. I can put them in granola. I can put them in oatmeal. Usually I make peach pie filling. I may or may not make that, but this time I just froze the peaches so that way I can kind of do with them what I want. But what other peach recipes do y'all have? Let me know. But anyway, case in point, go get your peaches. If you're in my area and they're in season, go get your peaches. The next thing that'll be in season in my area will be apples starting around the fall. I think they start like around September and go through November, somewhere along in there. And I'm still learning, but for the fruits that I know strawberries are in April, peaches are in like June and July, apples are in like September, October, November, and I think citrus is like somewhere November to January, somewhere along in there. So I'm still learning, but learn what is in season in your area and go buy a lot of it, okay? Go buy a lot of it. Now, let's move on to our next project. Okay, so our next project is doing something with the stuff that we just got out of the freeze dryer. So I have parsley that I freeze dried. I have some rosemary, and then I have some strawberry mint, and then I have some okra. All of this is from the garden. So last week, I did a big harvest of herbs and flowers. I showed you that on a video. I'll try to remember to pop it up here. So I have been preserving all of those herbs. And so my freezer got full with the first batch. So this is the second batch where you see the herbs. But let me tell you what I made and what I am making. So this right here is my own Italian seasoning. All from herb. Oh, it smells so good. It's all from herbs from my garden. So it's basil, thyme, sage, and oregano. And I'm going to add parsley and rosemary, I think, to make a complete blend. It smells already amazing. So this is all from my, hold on, let me check this. See if this is boiling. Okay, this is our second batch of jelly. So let me set the timer. Okay, so that's gonna go 10 minutes. The first 10 have already come out, so we got a total of 19 jars of jelly. The 19th jar, I didn't have enough to get the right headspace, so that is this right here, and we will just, I'll just put this in the refrigerator and eat it, but you can see what it looks like. You can see pretty much it's already set. This hadn't even gone in the canner. I'm just letting it cool off, and then I'll put it in the refrigerator. But back to the herbs. So last week, I freeze dried this, and then I ground it up in my dry Vitamix. So with Vitamix, there is a liquid cup, and then you have to buy the dry cup as extra. So I bought a dry cup last year off of Facebook Marketplace. And I like that. It's better for grinding up your herbs and things that's not liquid, basically. So I ground it up. You can see what that looks like here. It got it really, really fine. But I want to add the rosemary and the parsley to it. And I'll probably have enough to put in like two spice jars if I'm not mistaken. So let's go ahead and crumble up the parsley and all of that good stuff and the rosemary. Also, this strawberry mint, I will just kind of de-stem and put in a bag to use for like tea or flavoring or something like that. And y'all, this okra, I didn't have enough really to make a whole meal, but I wanted to do something what had come out of the garden. Y'all, I just sprinkled some salt on a couple of these and tasted it. Did you hear that crunch? It tastes so good. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? So good. This is a great snack. This might not make it to the bag. I think I'm just gonna eat this as a snack. And I mean, just think about it. I'm getting okra, but I'm eating it as a snack. It's freeze dried. It is so good. So, so good. Okay, let's get down to business. So, I'm gonna put the top back on this. So I'm so glad, and I think I'm just gonna crumble this up. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Because I haven't done this before, because I'm usually never dehydrating or freeze drying my herbs, then I don't even know the proper way to do it. I'm just crumbling it up, and because it's so dry already with the freeze dryer, it's crumbling up pretty easily, and the stems are separating, which is good. So, did I tell y'all I'm loving my freeze dryer? Look, let's talk about the freeze dryer. So, if you want a freeze dryer and you're thinking, I can't afford it, I want to make sure that you know that they do have a layaway program. So that's what I did with my freeze dryer. I put it on layaway November 2022, and then we got it in February of 2024. So I think the minimum down payment is either $250 or $500. I think it's $250. And then you can make payments however you want, whenever you want. Like, there is no limit. There is no time frame. They're not going to be calling you talking about, hey, your payment is due this month. Like, you pay whatever you want, whenever you want. So all I did, it took me, a year and a half. And I just put money on it when I had extra money. So if I did like, some extra HR work, or just made some money through any of my sponsorships or whatever, I would just put it on. And so sometimes I would send $100. Sometimes I would send $200. It's just whatever I had at the time. It was very sporadic, but I was able to get my freeze dryer, and that was the way that I could get it instead of paying $3,000 up front. So if you're interested in a freeze dryer, I have a link down below in the description. Please go use my link and get you one. But I've had the freeze dryer, I guess, since February. We really started using it, I would say, around in April. And since I have put my summer veggies in the ground, I have been using my freeze dryer every single week, usually 3 or 4 times a week. So pretty much it's running every day, because after we do this, one of the next things I'll be doing is prepping it to go back in the freeze dryer, because I got all this produce. And so I will be loading up trays again to go in the freeze dryer. Now, a lot of people have like 2 sets of trays. And when I got my freeze dryer, they were out of stock on the trays. And I can see where that would come in handy, because essentially, if I already had trays ready to go, I could have taken this out and already had my stuff prepped and ready and just turned the freeze dryer on. But now I gotta actually prep this stuff because I've been waiting on these trays, if that makes sense. But I'm just kind of de-stemming this parsley as much as possible. And I guess I could just use this as fresh parsley as is and not add to my blend. So maybe I'll do both. Maybe I'll keep some as fresh, and then I will also add some to my blend and grind up. But you gotta have parsley and Italian seasoning, right? Don't you? I just looked at the Italian seasoning that I bought from the store, and I looked at the ingredients. The only thing that mine had that I didn't have was marjoram. Other than that, I had everything growing in the garden. So look at that. All bright green, smells just like parsley, so that is good to go. So I think I'll keep this separate. And all I gotta do is blend this up in my little Italian seasoning blend, but you can see that I pretty much have crumbled it all up with just my fingers. And so if I wanted to just put it in a container by itself, I could do that just as is and then use it for dishes as needed. So now let's take our rosemary. And I'm assuming I would just like de-stem. Yep, that's coming out pretty easy. De-stem this. I'll just do this right on the tray because it's just that easy. And I only took like a few sprigs of rosemary. Oh, it smells so, y'all. I can't even tell you. I wish we had smell-o-vision. I can't even begin to tell you how good this smells. Y'all, this smells like I just picked it. Like literally. Like literally, like I just picked it. So let's put this in something. So you can see fresh rosemary, just like that. And again, I wouldn't need this much to go in my spice jar. So I'll have some left over and I'll just kind of store this. So that is done. So we got those 2 trays done. So now this is the strawberry mint. Yeah, because it is really, okay, I'm gonna try to de-stem this too. I'll just put the stems over there. Last week I did orange mint, so this is strawberry mint. And I kind of did, oh, it smells like strawberries. Like literally. I've never done strawberry mint before. I found it at a nursery and I just picked it up to put in my garden. And I have it in a pot. I don't even know what I'm gonna do with it, but I figure you can use it for tea, like a loose leaf tea or something like that. And I guess I would use it fresh. If I wanted to put it in my strawberry lemonade, I would probably need to get it fresh because I wouldn't want like the freeze-dried stuff floating around in my drink. But it would be pretty as a garnish as fresh mint. So I'm just getting rid of pretty much all the stems so that I just have dried leaves for the most part. Okay, y'all, so now that we have our other 2 ingredients from the freeze dryer, the parsley and the rosemary, let's complete our Italian seasoning. So this is the Italian seasoning that I made up before. This is basil, thyme, sage, and oregano. So I'm gonna pour this back in here so that I can blend it all up together. And this is what I was telling you. Oh, it smells so good. This is what I was telling you, the dry container for Vitamix. So it's a little bit shorter. It has a different blade. So it does things really good that are dry, like herbs, nuts, and things like that. And so then I'm gonna take probably half of this parsley. Okay, so I put a handful of parsley in there. I'm gonna do the same thing and do a handful of rosemary. And again, I'm just eyeballing it and I'm assuming this will be a good ratio to add to what's already there. But we got that in there. And so basically, it smells so good. Do y'all see that? It smells so good. I think I'm gonna leave as is, and I'll just have this left over because I don't want it to be overpowering on one herb or another. I want it to be like a perfect blend. So let's see if this all fit in my jar. I don't know that it made that much of a difference. I'm gonna put this in a salt shaker, a spice jar. Just like that. It smells so very good. Now we officially have Italian seasoning. I know I didn't say this 5 times, but when I say it smells so good, it smells so good. See how easy that is? All we did was we took herbs from the garden. I freeze dried them. You could dehydrate them. You can put them in your oven on a low setting. You can hang them up to dry. And then I put them in the Vitamix and just blended it all together until I got the blend that I wanted. Another thing that I added, again, this is not typically an Italian seasoning, but because it's my Italian seasoning, I can do what I want. I added a little bit of onion powder and garlic powder because there's not anything that I'm seasoning where I ain't putting onion powder and garlic powder. Right. So I just put a little bit in there. But I'm so excited about this. I wonder if this will fill up a whole, it should definitely fill up a whole spice jar. So I think that's what I'll do, because that way I can shake it instead of trying to like scoop it out. So let me see if I got an extra one. Okay, you guys, I didn't get a chance to end the video yesterday, so I'm back just to show you what we got when I put them in the bottle. So I was able to get 1 full spice jar of Italian seasoning, and pretty much I would say 3/4 of the way full. So that is pretty good for a quick harvest in the garden. We got 1 3/4 jars of Italian seasoning made straight from herbs in the garden. Like, you cannot beat that. So I encourage you, if you have herbs in your garden, don't let them go to waste like I've been doing. Go out and harvest your herbs, dry them by some method, and use it for seasoning, right? I think that'll be a good thing. So this is done. Also, I have prepped the freeze dryer. So I have 4 trays of jalapeno peppers that are ready to go in the freeze dryer. And then I have almost a whole tray full of pimento peppers. Remember, no, not pimento, paprika peppers. This is a new pepper that I tried this year. It's Alma paprika, and it's from Territorial Seeds. I should have showed you before I think I've showed you on camera before, but if not, I'm sure I'll have more this summer and I'll try to show you on video. But it's a pretty big pepper. I mean, it's smaller than a bell pepper, but much bigger than like a pimento pepper. They start off like a yellow, then they go to orange, and they go to red. So I had some that was pretty much ripe, so I didn't have enough for a whole tray. This was probably the equivalent of 5, but I wanted to go ahead and get them in, and I didn't want to mix anything else with it. So we have, like I said, 4 trays of beautiful jalapeno peppers, and then a tray of the paprika peppers to go in the freeze dryer. So my goal is to make my own paprika powder. We'll see how that goes as the summer goes on. But I just want to say thank you guys for joining me today. I feel like we got a lot accomplished. We got our jelly. Did I ever show you? Did I show you the jelly? I think I showed you the jelly. Yeah, I think I did. Anyway, we got 19 jars of jelly done. We got our Italian seasoning done. We got the stuff ready for the freeze dryer. So it has been a productive kitchen day. I'm going to try to bring you a video in the kitchen of me, you know, at least once a week, not to just be in the kitchen, but to show you how I'm taking things from the garden and preserving it, putting it away, using it in cooking, or whatever the case may be. The other thing that I didn't show you is that I have some bread rising now. I'm making a focaccia loaf, and I'll be topping it with our rosemary from the garden. So that should be a plus. If it turns out, this is my first time making this particular recipe. Normally I do an overnight focaccia using my sourdough starter, but my sourdough rose and fell before I got a chance to use it. So we're having pasta tonight for dinner, so I wanted to go ahead and get some bread. So I'm doing like a quick focaccia recipe. If it turns out okay, I'll let you know, and I'll put the recipe down below. This is the one that's not an overnight rise, so we'll see how it goes and how it tastes. But I'm going to top it with our rosemary from the garden. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. I hope that your kitchen and your gardens are growing well. I hope that you're in your kitchen using the things from your garden and that you have abundance. Remember, gardening is a journey. Let's grow together. I'll see you next time, friend.